Welcome back to the most inconsistent podcast on planet Earth. Today we're joined by MTN's newest coach. So we thought we'd do a little bit of a get to know you. We'd done one with Katie probably about a month and a half ago, but we've obviously taken two new coaches on to work within the brand. So, hello Roy.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Obviously, I think we'll just kick things off just with a little bit of a get to know you. So, who are you? Where are you from? How long have you been coaching? That kind of thing. Just give me a bit of insight. Age, sex,
all the interesting stuff.
marital status.
Yeah, so I'm 25 years old and I moved to Glasgow about 5 or 6 years ago now. And I've been a personal trainer for, I think, 8 years now. So pretty much since I've been 18 years old.
8 years?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same as me.
Nice. So quite a long time.
Nice.
And yeah, it was always something I wanted to do was kind of move down this neck of the woods. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's kind of...
So since you were 18?
Yeah, since I was 18.
And where did you work before that?
So I've only really had one main job, and that was in retail. I actually worked at Hollister.
Right, nice.
And that was kind of like my first sort of main like temp job as such. I've not really had like a corporate job or like a typical like 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. But that was like my sort of main.
Nice.
Main sort of
Alex actually applied for Hollister and got knocked back.
I was telling me that the other day actually.
So that's funny. Funny weird thing about me and Roy. We actually we're not. You were born in Afford, or like from Afford?
Yeah, so like Aberdeenshire, so like a little village called, no one will know it, but a little village called Saucon, which is like 10 minutes from Afford.
Yeah, and I grew up, like my summers were always spent in Afford. My grandparents were from there, so fucking weird actually. But I'd like started speaking to you and I heard your accent. I was like, where are you from? So actually I was going to ask, where did you grow up? But what sort of kind of upbringing did you have? Were you quite sporty? Were you into fitness from a young age, or was it something that you got into later on?
Yeah, so from a young age, me and my twin brother and my older brother were always really into football. Mm-hmm. My dad like had a pretty like sporting background as well, so he did a lot of running and cycling, and always kind of instilled it into me and my twin brother from a young age that he needed to be active.
Oh, you got a twin, don't you?
Yes, I've got a twin. That's another interesting fact about me.
You're not identical though, eh?
No, not identical. Like if you were to see him, the main differences with him is he can actually grow facial hair, whereas I literally can't grow a single ounce on my face. But yeah, from a young age, just really interested in things like football. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the main sport that I did growing up. I wasn't particularly great at it, but I really enjoyed like the fitness element. Yeah. So I was always good at running around. I was always good at keeping myself in shape. Yeah. But I was never particularly great at like the actual sport itself.
The skill.
Yeah,
that's class. What I suppose outside of like fitness, what other kind of things are you interested in? Other hobbies?
At the moment, like quite a big thing that I'm interested in is actually this like videography and like social media stuff. Yeah. So nice. I've always had like an interest in like being creative, so may that be with like video or graphic design, and like when I grew up I did quite a lot of that. So that's something that I'm quite interested in at the moment as well. Mm-hmm. I also do like a little bit of DJing on the side. Like it's probably not been something that I've done like as much recently, but me and my best mate Matt have been sort of learning how to do that for the last couple of years. So
just a brainwave. Why don't you DJ at the 12-week peak photo shoot?
Yeah, no, that would be,
actually
that would
even
be,
for like 2 hours or something.
That would be quality. Like,
that's class. That's cool. Happening now.
Or even like an hour or something.
Yeah, that'd be quality. We're gonna message. We're gonna message somebody and hire them, but I'm like, we could just get Roy to do that. Basically, just taking Roy to like use all his other skills. I mean, he's a great coach, but he's gonna be like videographer. He's gonna be DJing. What else can you do? Cook some Shazan chicken.
Yeah. Nah, not the cooking part. Anyone that knows me is bang average.
Yeah, so DJing, I presume that's, well, I know, like, what kind of music is it?
So it's like techno, melodic techno, not quite like the thumping stuff you would hear at like SWG3, but more sort of music that you might hear in Ibiza or at clubs like High and Ushaya and you know, artists like Camel Fat, Solomon. Cool. Sort of melodic techno sort of tunes.
Nice. So regarding, I suppose, physique development, what have you, like, I was always skinny growing up and then I struggled to build muscle and then I went through a big kind of transformation. What was your kind of physique development look like? Were you chubby? Were you skinny? Were you scubby? That's skinny chubby.
I remember being like 14 or 15, and obviously at that age you start to kind of think about like how you look. Yeah. And you obviously start to think about, like, you know,
the females,
the girls, and I always remember kind of thinking, like, I'm kind of skinny fat. Yeah. And I had this realization one day where I kind of looked at myself and I was like, I'm skinny, but I've got man boobs.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, genuinely. Like I just came out of the shower one day and like I must have been like just obviously getting older and whatnot, and I was like, I've got man boobs. So I remember like hopping on Google and like figuring out like how to get rid of them, and it was like doing press ups in my bedroom, doing crunches, and it literally got to the point where it's like every night I was doing like 50 press ups, 100 crunches, and I started seeing results based off that. And there's a funny story. My twin brother actually, who barely goes to the gym now, decided to buy a set of dumbbells off one of his mates at school. And it got to the point where I was stealing them from him that much. He was just like, right, I've had enough, I give up, and that kind of started. So I would do like bicep curls, shoulder press.
So you started like weight training in the house? What did you do then?
I was probably about 15 there.
That's young to start training.
So I did like a year at 15, and then obviously started to see some results to the point where my dad like said to me, like, look, I'll like buy you more equipment, like a bench press, barbells, and we had like a log cabin in our back garden. So that kind of turned into my gym. So I was out there every night, like just smashing out, and that kind of started my...
So you probably lifted between 15 and 18, decided you want to kind of make a career of it.
Yeah.
Where did you start coaching?
So I started coaching at Pure Gym in Ship Row.
At 18?
Yeah.
That's super young.
So I think it was 18 or 19. But funnily enough, I actually did my course, PT course, in David Lloyd in Renfrew.
Oh, so did I?
So literally right around the corner from here. So I did my course there, moved back up to Aberdeen, and then I did one-on-one coaching in Pure Gym for 2 years, which...
Should maybe speak right into that, actually. Sorry.
So I did one-to-one coaching in Pure Gym for 2 years or so, but it was just such a big learning curve. Like,
that age as well.
I was self-employed. Like, I didn't really know too much about how to coach. I was doing classes, and it was quite a tough period because I probably wasn't making much money, and obviously, as you do, you have doubts about whether or not like it's going to be something that's viable, but I stuck with it and obviously had like the support of my parents as well. And eventually I started to pick up more clients and I got better at the job as well.
Class. And then you moved to David Lloyd, or was that at that stage?
So after I did my 2 years at Pure Gym, I decided that obviously I wanted to move from Aberdeen to Glasgow. So I looked for jobs down there, and then I ended up obviously getting a job at David Lloyd in Renfrew and moved down here.
And then when did you move to Commando? You've been here, 2 years?
So probably just over a year now. So
is it just over a year?
Yeah, so
I thought it was longer.
About a year and 3 months or whatnot.
Right, okay, class.
So
here's a good question. What was the biggest, I suppose, learning curve from when you were 18, PT and people versus now? What's the kind of biggest thing that you've learned in that time frame?
I think when it comes to coaching itself, I think when I was 18, I felt like I had to overcomplicate things quite a lot. So almost to try and show people that I knew what I was talking about. But what I would say now is what I've learned is that actually the simple cues are the most effective.
Most effective,
That's the main way that I coach now. It's nothing too overcomplicated, obviously, if people want that information, but it's more simple cues, things that people can understand, and in that regard when it comes to actual coaching.
Class. And what was what's your style of coaching? Is it mostly weight training? Is it conditioning? Is it a mix? What's your kind of style of coaching, training?
Most of the coaching that I do currently is all resistance based. So it's just teaching people how to lift with good technique, how to perform movements so that they can build muscle effectively, and how to stay injury free.
Class.
That's kind of something that I pride myself on. When it comes to social media as well, is putting out content where I'm showing people how to lift correctly. I'm lifting correctly as well, and that's one thing I just can't stand is just poor technique and just...
Yeah, you're meticulous with your form. I sometimes let form slip a little bit. Ego gets in my way. What? Actually, the question regarding that you've got an issue, is it with your knees?
So I've got a couple of things that have kind of troubled me over the last few years. The main one that gets me most is I've actually got sciatica on my right leg.
Right, okay.
So that was actually caused off the back of an injury that I got hip thrusting 5 or 6 years ago. And I remember feeling like a little twang, and I didn't feel much of it at the time. And then I just started to develop like weakness.
So what have you learned about, I suppose, you might be a better coach for somebody that's suffering with like sciatica. What have you learned about programming surrounding that to obviously get around that injury?
So like a big part of my programming at the moment for lower body is I don't actually do much squatting, and I don't do a huge amount of deadlifting either. So I've basically... So
that's two of the biggest compound movements I suppose that we are big fans of at MTN. So I suppose what do you do to get the same or a better stimulus through other exercises?
So one piece of kit that I do use a lot of at the moment is a hack squat. So
heavy
emphasis
feature,
or featured this year compared to last year. Mainly because that allows me to sort of remain stable, and I can put my quads to a nice range of motion without the risk of sort of aggravating anything too much with stability.
So what advice would you give to someone else that's suffering from sciatica? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I've got sciatica, I can't train. What advice would you give them?
I would actually say that training is, in the long run, going to be better for you. So you definitely need to stay moving. I would suggest avoiding exercises that cause you too much direct pain. Like, I know for a fact that there's just certain movements that really aggravates my sciatica, and I tend to find like any sort of deadlifting from the floor will just put me out of the game for like days. So I just avoid that exercise as a whole. And what I was saying to David and a lot of my clients is that you don't actually need to do these movements to build like a strong set of legs. I mean, ideally, if I wasn't injured, I would probably like to do things like deadlifts and squats. I
think nowadays, people get caught up on like, I need to do this, I need to do that, and I was 100% guilty of that. Like, training myself and training clients, like I used to have really, really overweight clients, and I'd be like, you must squat and deadlift, even if they couldn't physically like get into the right position. I'd be like, figuring out ways to help them. But I think, again, we've been coaching them at the same period of time. Like, you kind of learn as you go on that you don't need to do anything. There's not an essential exercise, there's not an essential diet. There's like things that work very well for different people as well. Like, your training style, as much as we do push, pull, legs, upper or lower, your exercise selection is going to be quite different from mine. One in preference, two on injuries, two on things that suit your body better. So I think that's something important to consider. There is no must-dos exercises. They're things that are like more beneficial for other people and not for others. A bit more lighthearted. What's your favourite holiday destination and why? I think I know it.
this will be an easy one for anyone that knows me prior to watching this, but I'm going to have to say Ibiza. You always get people that talk about Ibiza and say, oh, it can't be that good or it's overrated or whatnot, but I'll be honest, I've had like some of the best holidays of my life there with my mates. Like, it is just brilliant on every level. Like, the weather, the music, the clubbing, like the clubs that you get there are just a different kettle of fish compared to anything you would get in the UK, in my opinion. Obviously, is it the most like fitness orientated? Probably not, because you come back and you're absolutely ruined for like
3 days,
3 weeks, probably 3 weeks sometimes. But yeah, I would say that's my favourite destination at the moment. I have been there. Like,
where else have you been? Because I've obviously followed you for like 2 years, but I've only ever seen you go to Ibiza.
I mean, I've been to like a few different other places. I've been to like some Amsterdam, France, Germany.
Okay, cool.
Like all Spain, it's all your usual spots. I've probably not done too much travelling outside of that.
Where else would you like to go then? Because I know that you're kind of keen to travel at some point.
I was speaking to my flatmate Max, and we were looking at possibly doing like a trip to America this year. So
nice.
Doing like 2 weeks of a road trip, or even just flying from like state to state. And I would like to sort of visit like Australia or Bali, or that sort of neck of the woods as well.
Class.
Obviously, it does get like a bit more expensive to fly there and stuff.
Wait, what age are you? You're still pretty young.
25.
25.
So 26 in April.
Nice. So you're not that young then.
No. So
right. Okay. Next question. I've got maybe like 3-4 left. And guys, if you've got any other questions, fire them in the comments box. Well, here's a good one. What was attractive about working like within the MTN brand? What actually kind of drew you towards that when we kind of presented you with that opportunity?
So it's weird because when I worked at David Lloyd, obviously still use social media quite a lot, and I always used to see the MTN stuff advertised, and what was attractive to me was the team and just how positive and how like aspirational everything seemed to be, and also just how much of an emphasis there was on getting good results and teaching people valuable things.
Nice.
And I didn't really see a lot of other groups or PTs really doing what you guys were doing. So in a roundabout way, I always wanted to have a part of it. And obviously when I started working at Commando under sort of the Commando brand, I started to get to know all you guys as well, and just getting to know you all and how much of a passion you've all got for helping people, and how actually just like interested you are in health and fitness as well was always quite attractive to me. Like,
and what so this is like an interview question. What do you think you can bring to MTN that's maybe a little bit different from, like, you do have similarities to a lot of us, but what do you think you can bring that's a bit different?
So I would say for me, I definitely do have like quite a creative edge when it comes to like the content side of things. So I know that I can like help the team create higher quality content across the board.
Like this video, guys.
Yeah, like this video. So hopefully, like the camera.
Hopefully the audio is working.
Yeah, if the audio's not working, then
yeah, we're fucked.
We're buggered. But
buggered, you can swear.
We're fucked. But yeah, so the creative aspect as well, and I probably just say like maybe it's maybe not so much different, but I'm just going to bring more of the same, but in abundance. So being positive, being there to help people, being there to be motivational as well, and be like a driven worker.
And you're going to DJ at the 12-week peak.
Yeah, I'm going to DJ at the 12-week peak. So I'm not here to be a coach, I'm here to be a videographer and a DJ.
Love that. Yeah. So sorry guys, you can't work with Roy. Right, last two questions. First one just being what's your goals right now regarding your own, physique, fitness, health? What's your kind of main focus?
So at the moment, when it comes to my physique, I've been actively trying to eat a little bit more than I usually would. So just trying to gain like a couple of kilos here and there. Again, nothing like a too serious bulk, but just actively eating a little bit more, trying to get a little bit stronger. Naturally, I do have quite a lean physique, so I don't really tend to fluctuate like
too much
between like a huge bulky physique and being too lean.
Yeah,
I uploaded like a transformation pic the other day, and I remember like Ryan messaged me and he was like, I was sifting through your Instagram and I found this picture of you.
Yeah.
You look absolutely massive.
You were huge, yeah.
And then like other person I was speaking to as well was saying like you literally look like a different person. And during lockdown, I ended up getting like probably overweight because I was just eating loads.
Nah, you look thick.
I was bulky, but
thick.
But yeah, naturally I've always been quite lean, so I think like for me, I probably will look to get a little bit leaner.
Some point summer
maybe like the next month or two.
Right,
I'm lucky that I don't have to do like a huge like 16-week diet. And overall just keep enjoying my training. So just building more muscle, feeling good, and just being kind of maintaining a nice lean physique.
Nice. Cool. Let's finish up with the last question. Over the next, let's say 6-8 months, what do you want your career to look like? What do you want your business to look like? What's the kind of progression for you, do you think? So I can tell you that too, but
so we obviously discussed this the other day as well, but for me, I want to put a real emphasis on the online side of things. So I want to be at a point where I'm taking like 25 to 35 clients. Again, that might be slightly more long term, but being free to effectively work remotely at that stage would be something I would love to do as well, maybe within the next year. One-to-one business-wise, just continually doing as best as I can, getting myself fully booked on the one-to-one side, and being a lot more present on social media again, because I know like what I can create and I know the sort of content I can put out.
Cool.
But it's just being more consistent with it, building up my following and helping more people as well.
Love it. Quality. Where can the viewers find you?
So viewers can find me on Instagram at Roy Stewart PT. That's kind of the main place where I'm posting or going to be posting a whole lot more. I've got a TikTok account as well, so that's Roy Stewart PT too. So I tend to kind of repost videos on there.
And he's got an old YouTube channel that you need to go and check out.
Yeah, if you want to see me post some pretty questionable cringe videos, especially the first couple, that'll give you a laugh. You can check out my YouTube. But I want to get started with that as well. I've got this fancy camera over there, which I really should be using, and I'm going to be helping David out with the MTN stuff as well for the 12-week peak. So
definitely. Perfect, guys. Right, these should be back being a little bit more frequent. I know we had a little bit of a sabbatical there. But no, Roy's going to be helping with the overall kind of production of these. Hopefully this looks a lot cleaner cut. Hopefully the audio is even better than it ever has been. But yeah, we've got a lot of ideas for podcasts. It's not as if we're ever short of content. I think we could all talk all day long. It's more just it's probably just crept down the priority list. So no, this is going to be a much bigger priority over the next few weeks and months. We're going to bring back the Sunday roasts. We're going to bring back just better quality content as well. And obviously Roy is here to help with that. But yes, just welcome to the brand. I know I've said that a few times. Really looking forward to seeing Roy's progression and growth over the next, like, really short term, but also really long term as well. I think you can do a lot in the next month, but I also think you can do a huge amount in the next 12 months. So he's going to be heavily involved with the 12-week peak this year. He's going to be managing like a huge number of clients throughout that. But also, if you're looking to work with Roy in any capacity, online one-to-one, you can reach out to the MTN page, or you can obviously message Roy directly. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.
Thanks very much.